Looks like Ari from New America had snuck in first, followed by Mike from Curly Express. Hello, new sound. Hmm, that's unusual. Mute was not on. Double check the microphone. Microphone setting open fine. Audio. Microphone. Ah, okay. For some reason, different microphone. All right. How does that sound? Now that I'm thinking of, I believe I'm on the right microphone now. Better. All right. Well, thank you for letting me know about that. It seemed that it switched switched microphones. Not sure why, but yeah, it's very odd. It was showing that it was working, but apparently it wasn't the microphone that I thought it was. Well, if that's the only issue I have tonight, we'll go with that. So, of course, at the same time, I think my brain might be a little foggy. But yeah, apparently, you need to do some masking, so you'll be lurking. Ah, so are you planning on being, some kind of superhero and all that? Since you're masking. The funny thing is that apparently, the company that I work for has, well, I'm not quite sure if they're a celebrity or not, but apparently we wound up recently hiring someone that goes by the Bennington Batman. His car is, dressed up, well, poorly dressed up like the Batmobile. Very, I think it's a Mustang or something like that. It doesn't look like an actual movie or cartoon version of the Batmobile, but what a great idea. But apparently, from my understanding, goes around like sometimes he goes around like events or hospitals and all that, and basically helps it proves the days of kids, I guess, which is a pretty admirable thing. But I I have met with him, but the thing is that I'm where I work. I'm like stuffed way into the corner and all that, so I haven't worked with him directly. Uh, haven't heard any. I guess he's a good worker. I haven't heard anything bad about him. Just that he's weird. So it's like, so a lot of us need to know that we're weird. So yeah, it's just that my weirdness is, no, I wouldn't say out. I don't. I mean, I don't even wear a railroad hat. It's like it's one of those things of yeah, weird is good. Yeah, and it's one of those things that you got to find your own group of weirdness and all that. And oh, John Blanacki, and see if I can. I guess my tongue's not working properly tonight. Yeah. But But one thing I did wind up doing, apparently, I did wind up making a mistake with the diorama. Ban Icky. Okay, I'll get it eventually. The thing is, I'm good with names. I'm good with faces. I have a hard time putting them together. But since I don't know what a lot of people here, depending on the crowd, some leave you alone, other calls for straight jackets. Yes, yeah. There's some people, if you're weird, they turn around and are ready to crucify you. But I'm in a I want to say Vermont is pretty lenient and all that, but like every place there is one. Yes, we all have our quirks, and if the ones that don't believe they have any quirks, like it's like accents. We all have our own accents. It's just that usually we don't think of having an accent because the people that we're surrounding ourselves with has the same accent. It's not until you leave the area and you wind up finding out that you have an accent. Um, uh, and yeah, it reminds me of a story that it was after. This was after the movie Robin Hood Men in Tights, the Mel Blanc version of Robin Hood. And there's a scene in there where Robin Hood is saying goodbye and to Maid Marian in a lot of different languages. He just keeps on going and going. And yes, for as long as we have fun with trains, that's our quirkiness. And the thing is that I was working for a company. It was one of the few times I worked with a I want to say a railroad supplier. It was a company that built heating and air conditioning units for rail cars. So it's one of the things we were supplying a rail car company that supplied rail cars to railroads. And at the time, it was Bombardier, which for the longest time I thought was Bombardier. But I've heard it's Bombardier directly from someone from the company. And then there was one time there was I don't know the full details, but there was the Bombardier was having some issues with part of what we're doing, and so they sent a representative down. Well, the company itself at the time, I think it was called Albatross. The thing is, I was there for 3.5 years. I went through 3 different name changes and 5 different general managers. Eventually, the split in half and went their own ways. It was actually a German-Spanish consortium. Ooh. Yeah, that's one thing is that you can't have too much fun because then you wind up it's the extremes. Too much fun or too much anger, too much grief. Too much of anything, and you wind up not paying attention. And when you're not paying attention, you wind up almost screwing yourself over. But what had happened is that it was a German Spanish consortium, but most of the people there spoke Spanish. It was there when I had realized that, like English, there's American, the Queen's English, Australian, New Zealand, where there's where there's you could almost tell where that they're not from, with accents and stuff like that. And that's while working with this company, I also realized that the Spanish language is the same way. You got the Concilian Spanish, which is proper Spanish, Mexican, Puerto Rican, Chilean. It's like all the ones that has they're different. Different countries have a slightly different variation of Spanish. They can talk to each other just like we can talk with somebody from Australia. There might be some miscommunication with some of the idioms and stuff like that. Australian Kiwi is convict English just to confuse the Queen's English. Okay. But I mean, Spanish is the same way, and I'm assuming Portuguese and Brazilian is different. And that's how it is. And there was one day, it was on a Friday. We had the normal group there that was mostly Spanish. We didn't really have that many Germans there. But so half the plant spoke a variation of Spanish, just like most of the English. And then I was in a silly mood, so I turned around and oh, hello there, Jim. Unfortunately, you're getting towards the end of a punchline of a story, so you might have to rewatch the beginning to get the first part. But I sort of played along, because so you had somebody that was, so you had a lot of Spanish people there. You got somebody from Bombardier that speaks Quebecois, not French, but close. They're enough that they can still talk to each other, and of course English. So I took so I paraphrased the line from Robin Hood Men in Tights. I said goodbye, adios, au revoir, and I just I turned around to leave and all that. The guy and I remember distinctly the guy from Bombardier's head completely snapped around. But I'm already heading out the door and all that, and it's like, all right, whatever. And then I want to say it was less than a month later, I did the same. I got the same silly mood, so I did it again. Just like the, goodbye, adios, au revoir, and just turned around, and I got the same exact reaction from the guy from Bombardier. Of course, now it's stuck in my mind to ask him the next Monday, why did he give me that expression? I was sort of kind of curious. And he turns around and says, you said it without an accent. And I'm like, I have a French Canadian accent? Yeah. Well, hello there. Hello there, real artists. Thank you for sneaking in. Of course, we want a full report on what dinner is when you get back. But I don't know, for that silly little story. So let's switch over to, I'll show you what went wrong with, oh, excuse me. What went wrong with the diorama? Ta-da. All right. Now, I think I know what I did wrong. But as you can see, Let's move this out over here. As you can see, the pond is a little too cloudy. So now I'm trying to figure out how to make it uncloudy. And some of the things I'm thinking of, maybe put down some tint or something like that to sort of make it less we'll go that way. Not sure how well that's going to work out, but we'll go that way for now. And basically let that dry, and then keep on adding it until the white goes away. And then from there, add some more Mod Podge on top of it, very diluted, and then hopefully get that looking more like a pond and all that. And then from there, pretty much go from there, and then add more Mod Podge and try to make it a proper lake. But I am eventually planning on adding more shrubbery around it. So that's one thing about these dioramas. I'm doing things to see what works and what doesn't work. Obviously, this does not work. Can I recover this? I don't know. But I know now what not to do. And that is, if I'm going to, what I wound up doing was I might put Mod Podge on there, and then I put water on top of it to try to dilute it. Instead of doing that, I'll put it into take the Mod Podge, put it into a small thing like this, shake it up, and mix it all up. Then put it down. Trying to put the Mod Podge on sort of kind of afterwards, or put the water after that Mod Podge does not work. Hello there, Wigwag. Thank you for stopping in. Okay. Now, I just happened to realize that I should have put that on there beforehand, because now I'm needing to move the diorama, which the Hunter's weathering mix is very liquid, so it is, as you can see, it's getting all over the place. And that's, again, something else that seemed to be a good thing at the time, but apparently not. Looks like I might have to, maybe, use ink instead of there's the PVA glue water setup. Knocked over Rick. That's one thing another thing I gotta learn on how to do is figure painting. And probably probably figure out, where can I get I think I have a bunch of figurines somewhere. Let's see, is this all the way? This needs to go over a little bit more. All right, so that's where the end of the camera is. So I need to move another 4 inches. We do have another 4 inches. If I move the 6-inch lamp out of the way. All right. All right. Now I knock everything over. All right. Make a lot of noise off camera, make it sound like I'm doing something. All I'm doing is just getting the super glue, small thing of super glue off the floor because, well, you don't want to run over the chair with this. That would leave things really, really messy. All right. Yeah, it sounds like you got very lucky, John. I never did find the other half of the equation of a life with somebody else. All right, now basically I'm duplicating this over there. As this dries and all that, I might add some more black ink and all that, and then, as I said, slowly add Mod Podge on there to make it less, theoretically make it less, yeah, I'm gonna definitely have to add more stuff there because now it's starting to lighten up and it's not looking right. All right, now on this side. And we'll start theoretically adding stuff to this side. Put a lot of stuff in the center. And we'll use a brush to sort of brush it out. All right, that looks like we might got too much, but we'll eventually figure that out. All right. right. I will spread this a little bit over this way, trying to get more stuff down the hill. Try to fill in all the little itty bitty gaps. Now, for those who are wondering why I don't have a ballast spreader, it's because ballast, from my understanding, was done a little bit differently than modern day ballasting. And there we go. Trying to. Now, unfortunately, I get this all nice and leveled out. And I got to add the wet water to it. And that has a tendency to, even the wettest of water has a tendency to sort of make things go slightly awry. It seems to be a slight challenge on the edge here. We don't have a dam or anything holding anything up here, so I have to. All right, let's bring stuff this way. Yeah, one of the things from my understanding is that they didn't use modern ballast that we have today, which is crushed stone. They used whatever was nearby. And so, even fresh ballast was sort of looked like there wasn't enough, from my understanding, even on fresh ballast. Okay. Now let's see what we got with the wet water. Because immediately, even though it has soap in it to decrease the tension, it's that initial, since everything is still dry, it winds up balling everything up first. Now, some of the ground cover or some of the bales, especially the ones that are like cascading over here and all that, I'm planning on putting more ground cover over it. So that's why I'm not really worried about it spreading all over the place, because that's what my plan is. Yeah, good to know, rail artists. Here, mister. Well, yeah, something to try for the next diorama. And pretty much the rest of the procedure is pretty much what you would expect with doing ballast, is, just taking diluted white glue and sort of just spread it very liberally. So we're trying to get every drop where it needs to go. And as you can see, there's some places it doesn't really want to dilute into. But yeah, it seems that as you see, most of it soaks in, but there's some places where it looks like it's not soaking in as much as I would like. And I think it's because of there might not be enough water in that particular chunk of glue. All right. Let's see. Might need some more glue. All right, got some of that out. Pour some of this in. Pretty much using the same wet water that I used to break the water tension of the glass or the water. All right, and to add a little air in there because you got to be able to mix it up. And that's why I think where the non-mixing of the Mod Podge over at the pond over there happened. It didn't fully mix it up, and it became cloudy. I think I might need more water. Thing is, now there's so many bubbles in this. I'm getting it all over the place. So let me grab something to clean this up with. Let's clean up all the water parts. Oh, there's a piece of glue that was there that came up. Nice. All right. So, yeah, I think a good portion of this segment is actually watching glue dry. Especially in the front here, trying to get everything now. One smart thing I probably should be doing And let's see, we do this while things are still wet, especially in the front here. I didn't do it on this side, but this side I'm going to do it on. That is, what's this? Nope. There we are. From here we'll add, and basically I'm adding greenery to stuff just to give it some little different. Let's give it a little bit different variety. Make it theoretically not as obvious. But there are some places that I slightly goofed on. Try not to go that far. Trying to keep the greenery away from the ties. But if it doesn't get that far away, it doesn't get that far away. Now we'll add glue to the greenery. And I don't care if the greenery bunches up, because then that's sort of, instead of looking like a very out of place boulder, it will go up to a little ball and look like a in place piece of grass or small bush. All right, let's do the same for the other side of the track. One thing I might wind up doing is, since I'm so close to being, quote unquote done, I might finish up the little details off screen, because all right, let's see if we put this slightly gray ink in that area. No, it's gonna lighten it up too much. Let's And there goes the very robust Unimation sander. Yeah, we can go that way. That'll definitely make the white disappear. Now, this pond is not going to be natural looking. So it's one of those things that you can only poke at for so long, then you just got to throw your hands up and go, yeah, it's a failure. But for those who are going to watch Schuylkill Valley River, which is on after me, he is also doing a diorama, apparently. And also another interesting thing is that summer is gone, because now the leaves are starting to turn not green. All right, got that much in. One of the hardest things is not only sort of randomizing colors and all that, but also sometimes adding random colors and all that, where trying to make things look real. Of course, there are times that things look perfectly real and normal. But you look at it, it's like, why does it look so unreal? But when you look back at your reference material, that's how it looks like. All right, looks like I ran out of glue mix. Because I'm trying to add water, but all the air bubbles are like, no, you're not. All right, let's pick up our spillage again. Yeah, so I'm not keeping up on tabs of the chat tonight. I'm just not. I'm apparently not focused tonight. Well, we're overly focused if you want to go the other direction. All right, yeah, let's put that there. There's another random piece. Yeah, close enough. I'll grab this one because this has more ground cover. Do the lichen. I think that's pretty much gonna be it for tonight. Pretty much, the rest of us just watching glue dry. And we all know how exciting watching glue dry is. Glue / ink, as this is. I'm not sure how well this is going to be fixed. But then again, the stream isn't the fantastic either. So I guess I'll go from there. All right, now to go and switch cameras. Of course, afterwards and all that. Oh, there it is. There's the automation sander that I knocked over. Good thing it's built like a tank. I mean, it's made out of 1/4-inch steel. So I mean, 1/4-inch steel and aluminum. So it's like, yeah, it'll take it will take more than a 3-foot fall to break it. All right, 8 and 8. Thank you, Grandpa Rails. Thank you for coming in. Yeah, I have not been fully taken. Not really looking at the chat today. I didn't realize I was feeling a little bit off, so that's how it is. All right, let's go and switch back cameras. Now that I made everyone seasick with the other one. All right. Well, thank you, Artie. Yeah, I do my best. I'm also, learning skills, what to do, what not to do. One of the things I recently learned is that, I got some deer yesterday from a hobby shop that I've been known to go to. It's Milepost Hobbies. Unfortunately, it's about an hour and a half away. Actually, no, actually longer than that. I think it might be almost 2. Yes, we all learn from each other. Thing is, I was thinking of dioramas could probably use some wildlife and all that, but I grabbed it, not looking at not really taking a good look at the price tag, which is, pretty much almost $20. And I'm like, damn, $20 for 6 deer. So it's one of those things that if deer's not going, what I might wind up doing is that right now I have 2 dioramas. I might put a deer on each one and then save the majority for maybe for the quote main layout, which is only 8 foot by 1.5 foot. But the most important thing I did get a hold of was a puller or deer puller from Northwest Shortline. Since I am planning on, just had the thing in front of me. What I am planning on is making it broad gauge. I'm going, back in the 1876, they were still using names for locomotives, depending on the railroad. And I think at that time, they were starting to slowly get away from numbers or for letters. Yeah, I would have to say, it's one of those things of, yes, there's a price for ready-paid figures, but at the same time, I remember you used to be able to get unpainted figures. I haven't seen them around lately. But then again, I don't go on eBay or Amazon or anything like that. So that's where they might be, which is annoying in itself. But the plan for this is to call this the experiment, because it's exactly what it is. An experiment of how well and how easy I can make something, 6-foot broad gauge. This is, I believe, a lifelike teapot, I think it's called. China has them on eBay. More, still get them from bigger train shops. All right. Yeah, unfortunately, a lot of where I went to is a bigger train shop, but unfortunately, a lot they're disappearing from my area. I want to say all the train shops are still larger than my apartment, but some of them are not. I mean, or some of them are not. I can still fit my apartment in it. Like the one I went in, today or yesterday, Mile Post Hobbies. They had, they were, yeah, it actually has, the building they're in actually has two tea kettle. That's correct, Joe. Oh, hello, Joe. Thank you for coming in. Oh, okay. Yeah, they're harder and harder to come by, and unfortunately, I know there was a lot of Jim Kello from New Tracks. Yeah, you obviously been lurking, Joe, because it's like, Joe's here. A lot of them are, unfortunately, because of the internet and all that, a lot of places that, people used to hang out and all that are not hanging out. They're hanging out online, especially the younger generation. And it's getting a lot of there's a lot of manufacturers that are now selling directly to customers online. So there's no longer the, places where they've been. He's been spying. And the thing is, that's where you also find. I actually wound up getting this in it was part of a package deal. I was originally just gonna just keep it in the drawers. Like it's the drive is almost set up like Lionel, where it actually has the gears go there, and then there's the drivetrain actually drives both sets of wheels. That's why I can do this with the front wheel and all that, because there's I'm not quite sure if you can see it, but the front has a slot in it. Yeah, there's times that I want to be able to see something. Another thing is that I could be wrong on this, but one of the things that they had there, was this. I mean, this is an absolute basket case, as you can see, as everything falls apart. But at the same time, this is, I already have locomotives, and it's basically, this is a parts engine. Well, how many parts there are of it, but same thing with train shows. It's, it seems that train shows are the only place you're able to, find stuff like that, because you don't, biggest, and that's one of the things is that if you're actually physically, especially if they have a test track, it's like, all right, yes, it can go back forward, not etc. I'm not that engine. I'm not really worried about that if it's working or not, because I bought it for parts, and yeah, pretty much. This. Yeah, right now I just had a discussion over at on Discord, talking about these older style locomotives and all that. Apparently, Bachmann's are considered actual HO scale. I think the Mantua General also is HO scale, but there are some of the other ones that I have, which because of the motors at the time, they had to tweak stuff in, so it doesn't quite work properly. With the engines. I mean, I do have like this is a Rivarossi slash. I think this is a Rivarossi, and they basically said it's like it's close to HO scale. Obviously, they had to do some things to make it make the motor and drivetrain work properly. I also have a lot of the Dixie Bell mode, which is Sierra 3. That they said on that one, some of this, a good portion of it's HO scale, but then because of the motor and all that, they had to like the firebox, it's too wide, it's out of scale and all that. That's so they could fit the motor in. Older ones are I wouldn't say they're the best. I would say they're the easiest to work on. You don't have to worry about breaking the extremely super fine details, especially the ones that are like pre-weathered and all that. Which usually the 18th century stuff is usually not pre-weathered. Because back then, they actually turned around and cleaned the locomotives off to make them look nice. Because if I remember correctly, the engineers actually were assigned a locomotive. And it was their responsibility to keep up that locomotive. Whereas especially in modern times, it's basically you're assigned a locomotive every time you went out. Whereas back then, the engineer was responsible for a specific locomotive. But that's and that's why I think what happened to when they started not only doing just black engines, but then all of a sudden it's at least with American engines, they went to black because of the soot and all that and etc. But I think at the same time they stopped the practice of this engineer goes with this locomotive. It's like one of those things that going like, all right, this is the locomotive you're getting today. Yes. All right. Well, thank you for coming, Grandpa. Grandpa. Well, yeah, my tongue cannot work today. And actually, it's probably a good time to sign off so people can take a break before Schuylkill Valley Railroad starts their stream. So, if I believe the world needs more love, so find your passion, add some silliness to it, and wow, I forgot the last end of the outro. Oh, and spread it around. Yeah, I think passenger steam engines, they were the ones that, in the 19th century that got color. Early lunch. All right. Nice. All right. See everyone later. Bye.